Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about why the secrets of Sulphur Springs is Back to the Future meets So Weird. So, there's a show on Disney Channel called Secrets of Sulphur Springs. It's not the greatest show ever, but it's pretty good. And one thing why it's good is the mystery of the show and what's going on. This show came out about 2 years ago, and the second season just came out now. The first episodes are I reviewed on my channel. I reviewed the first season. They're on Disney Plus. Go check stuff out. What makes this show so incredible is the fact that Disney Channel was willing to go there. They were willing to bring on the creepy factor and the spooky factor and the strange, weird factor that they haven't done in 2 decades. Yes, it's been over 20 years since they had a show like this. Why? Because Disney Channel, it has a certain brand. They market to young people to make them happy. That's why their Marvel movies like have so much humor and no blood and stuff, and everybody's cracking jokes. And so like this show is very, very, very unique. Many people compare it to that of Disney Channel original series So Weird, which you can find on Disney Plus. It was a show that came out over 20 years ago. It was a show that mixed sci-fi, a little bit of like supernatural stuff together. It was kind of like the X-Files. It was a very weird, interesting, and creepy show. A show I love to death. But the show also has another element to it, that of Back to the Future. And it's really unique because there are so many similarities and parallels between the two shows, or the movie franchise and the show, that are combined in this new Disney Channel show. Now, I've stated before on my channel, this wasn't supposed to be a Disney Channel show. Well, okay, originally, it was just called Sulphur Springs, pitched to Disney Channel. They say, nope, they are not going to do that, because of what the premise of the first season was about. The premise of the first season was 30 years ago in the 90s, a girl went missing from summer camp. They don't know where she went. She just disappeared without a trace. They don't know if she was murdered, kidnapped, or what. And so, like, that was a little bit too much for Disney Channel. So they were gonna pitch it to Disney Plus, and it was supposed to be a Disney Plus show. That's why it's filmed on location. That's why it has a more weird vibe to it, different camera filters and stuff. But then they decided, okay, let's not put it on Disney Plus. Let's just put it on Disney Channel. Why not? Let's just do this. You know what I'm saying? And it worked. So now it's kind of like a hybrid of Disney Plus and Disney Channel. And so the thing about this is that the first season, a family buys a hotel. This hotel used to be part of summer camp. And the father who bought the hotel, he used to go to that summer camp. He used to go there with two of his friends. And one of his friends is the girl that disappeared 30 years ago. So this hotel is haunted. There's some weird, spooky stuff that goes on, ghost-like stuff, right? A rocking chair that rocks by itself, a mirror that fogs up and words are written on it. Creepy, small-time creepy stuff. So it won't spook out the people that are watching, like the little kids and stuff. And so, like, nobody knows what happened to this girl named Savannah that disappeared 30 years ago. They don't know if she was taken, what. And so all of a sudden, the father's son and his other friend, Jennifer's daughter, they decide they're gonna start hanging out and being friends. They discover in the basement a hidden bunker. They go through that hidden bunker, and when they come out the other side, all of a sudden they've been transported 30 years into the past, back in the 90s. And so they're able to meet their parents as teens, and they meet the girl that disappeared. So their whole goal in the first season is to prevent her from going missing, while all this other ghostly shenanigan stuff is happening. Turns out that How she disappeared was in 1990s. She went down into the basement of the hotel through the bunker and came out the other side, and it transported her 30 years into the past. So now she's in the 1960s where she lived her life. That's where she disappeared from. So that was the big mystery of it all, right? Then at the end of that season, while they're in the 1960s, they go through the bunker again the wrong way. And now they're in the 1930s. And in the 1930s, the main girl, who's Jennifer's daughter named Harper, she sees another girl who looks just like her. And it ends on that cliffhanger. Is this an ancestor? Is it her who's been living there? We didn't know at that time. Now we know, because in the second season, the girl that looks like Harper is her ancestor, her great grandmother named Daisy. And so after being freaked out, they go back through the bunker and back to their regular times. But Savannah stays in 1960 because in 1990s, her parents are dead. And so in 1960s, this family has adopted her. She's happy and thrilled. In the second season, more creepy stuff starts to happen with the ghost. We hear a woman humming Amazing Grace. We get the rocking chair moving more. There is this mist fog that is going all through around the floor and down the staircase. When they're back in the 1930s, a woman appears in the window and she bangs on it and screams and she disappears. She is the ghost that is haunting it. They have to figure out why she's haunted. She wants them to go back to the 1930s and fix stuff. So with some time travel shenanigans, they figure out that their the farmhouse in which they live in got stolen by a white judge in the 1930s. There is a black family that lives in that home. Because of that, they got tricked into selling it, and ever since then, every other family member that person that lived in that hotel has been haunted, terrorized by the ghost of that woman in the window. Turns out Harper is related to the people that had that farmhouse. So their family is the only one that's ever like treated nicely while in that house. So after the truth has been discovered and everything, she finally leaves the house and she goes into like the sky and everything. Only for another ghost to now enter the house, and it's more demonic for some reason, with glowing lights and everything. And so the boy, Griffin, who's her friend, who's the son of the guy who bought the house, he goes into far into the future, into the year 2024. And so turns out there's a house fire in the hotel, and the dude who created the time travel device told him he can't enter the house because there's some type of demonic presence in the house. And so it ends now on episode 8. Don't know how many episodes in this season, but so far it is only 8. So how is this similar to that of So Weird and that of Back to the Future? First, let's go into So Weird. So Weird was a show that came out around 1997, 1998, and it aired on Disney Channel. It revolved around a female named Fee, or Fiona, Fee for short. And she travels with her family around like America and stuff because her mom's in the band. And Fee is all about the paranormal stuff. She has a website where when you have a problem with the paranormal, you tell her and she tries to figure out. Oh, and sometimes when she just travels to other cities, there's always something paranormal going on there. Ghosts, androids, clones, aliens, werewolves, vampires, trolls, all that stuff appears in this show. And this was on Disney Channel before Disney Channel became Disney Channel, the whole Hannah Montana stuff, and Lizzie McGuire. So, nobody in her family believes of all this spooky paranormal stuff, especially her brother. She's the only person, and she's determined. It turns out her father had this same gift to see the paranormal stuff. And because of that, the paranormal demon people did not like that. They got rid of her father, and I mean got rid of him. He is now living in the underworld, it turns out. And Fiona is doing everything she can to like prove her father was right and save her father, and all this other stuff. And the demons don't like her either. So like towards the end, after she finds out he is in the underworld, the third season was supposed to be her going to the underworld. Disney Channel said, They are not going to the place that starts with a H. And so they redid the third season. The actress left the show, the showrunners left the show, and the show went more sillier and goofier with a new actress and stuff. And so the show got ruined after that and got canceled. Now, the similarities, of course, is the paranormal freakiness. There is a ghost in Sulphur Springs, and there are a couple of ghosts here, and there was a ghost in the first episode of So Weird and other episodes. Also, just strange paranormal stuff happening. The whole demonic thing in the second season. What's also similar to that is that Fiona has this gift to be drawn to the paranormal as her father did. Harper in Sulphur Springs, it turned out in the second season, she has a gift too. She has premonitions where she can see terrible stuff happening in the future. It turns out lots of the females in her family line have that too. It skips a generation. So it skipped. So since her mom isn't related to that family line, only the dad, it skipped him and went to Harper and everything. And her great great grandmother has that ability too, the one that is Grace, the one that was the ghost haunting the place. And so that's very similar to that of Fee and her father. They both have that same gift and everything. And that's pretty much all. Oh, also the similarities. In Sulphur Springs, Griffin's family, two of the twins, they believe in the paranormal stuff. Harper's brother Topher believes in the paranormal stuff, but the parents don't. And now the parents are slowly starting to believe in stuff like the time travel stuff and the paranormal stuff, because now they see it full hand as it's happening in the second season. Now, what's so weird, her friends and family didn't believe her either until stuff started happening to them, and some of them started to kind of believe it, but not really. You know what I'm saying? So that's that element and stuff. Now to the Back to the Future stuff. Back to the Future is a classic, a trilogy. It's where a man, Doc Brown, invents a time travel machine. His friend, who's a teenage boy for some bizarre reason, that never made no sense, because he's an old man hanging out with a teenager, he accidentally goes back in time with this time travel thing. He tries to prevent the murder. See, the reason why he went back in time, he did it by mistake. He was trying to flee these terrorists, but he ends up going back in time to when his parents were teenagers. And then when he's back in time, he's gonna try to prevent the murder of Doc Brown, because Doc Brown died in the present before he went back in time. Because of this, Marty interacts with his parents' first meeting, and because of that, his parents don't fall in love, and none of his brothers and sisters or himself are born in the future. Now he must fix all this. After some time travel shenanigans, he teaches his father how to fight. His father and mother fall in love, and when he goes back into his present day future, things are a little bit differently. He's living in a nicer home. His family has better jobs. They're better people and stuff. He has a better car because of all the time travel shenanigans. Then in the second movie, he goes into the future with Doc Brown, who is now resurrected and everything. Why? Because he gave him a note in the past. He read it to change his future. They go in the future with his girlfriend. More time travel shenanigans happen. They try to go back into their present day so he can destroy the machine, only for lightning to hit it, causing Doc Brown to go back into the Wild Wild West, which causes Marty to go back into the Wild Wild West to help save Doc Brown and everything. They go back to the present day future. The time machine has been destroyed, and it just ends. Now, the writing is on the wall when you watch The Secrets of Sulphur Springs. It is so like Back to the Future. In Sulphur Springs, they go down into the bunker. The bunker, for some reason, sends them back in time 30 years into the past. When they go into the past, who do they meet? They meet the or the kid versions of their parents, and they interact with them. They are trying to prevent this one girl, Savannah, from going missing and everything. That is so Back to the Future. The young person of this series going back in time, meeting their parents. Then it turns out that one of them goes back so far into the 1960s and got stuck there. That's what happened into Back to the Future 3. Then it also in the first season, they travel further back to a time when there's no electronic stuff, and now they're in the 1930s at the very end, just like how they was in the Wild West and Back to the Future 3 and stuff. Then it turns out in the second season that like, oh no, also in the first season, Harper tries to prevent the murder of her father who was killed in a car crash. She goes back in time to prevent it, only for events to still happen the same way. For some reason, he still ended up murdered. I need to rewatch the first season and see how that didn't happen, because he should be alive in the present, but he's not. I guess something happened when he still got in that car crash. So just like with Marty in Back to the Future, somebody went into the past to change the death outcome of somebody. Then in the second season, it turns out the bunker isn't the time travel vehicle. It's actually a radio. Well, we also found that out in the first season. But yeah, in the second season, it's the radio. The radio was built by somebody, and that person wanted to travel into the future. Originally, that's what Doc Brown wanted to do, and he also wanted to visit the Wild West. Also, just like Doc Brown and Marty, they traveled to the year 2020, I think, in Back to the Future. But in this show, people now travel to the year 2024. And the person who invented the thing said if he's not back in a certain time, destroy the device. He doesn't want nobody using it, just like Doc Brown didn't, because he said there's too many consequences with changing time and outcome of the space-time continuum and everything. And so, like, also when they travel back in time, they also, like I said, they go back in time to a place there's no electronics. Things are very new to them. They try to change, like she tried to change the outcome of her ancestors' farm getting like stolen from them and stuff. And that's very similar to Back to the Future 2. In Back to the Future 2, Marty goes into the future, gets a little greedy, steals buys an almanac, only for it to get stolen. As a result, Biff goes back in time to change his younger self outcome to where like the whole world now revolves around Biff and everything. And you know, there's so many similarities and stuff to like that of Back to the Future. It is uncanny. The Secrets of Sulphur Springs is a very intriguing and interesting and good show. Could it be better? Sure. If Disney was willing to go there, it could be amazing and great, but they can't, because they have to keep it for the little kids watching. So I understand that. It does change premise a little bit from season 1 to season 2, but it's not that bad. So, the whole inclusion of being able to see into the future, that's kind of weird, with the premonition thing. The whole somebody creating the time travel thing, I like that now. At first I didn't. At first I just wanted this supernatural thing just to happen. But now that it's caused by an actual device and somebody built it, and there's consequences and stakes, I like that a whole lot better. Oh, also with similarities is that when Marty got stuck in the 1950s, like he had no time travel machine to go to because Doc Brown was now in the Wild West. Also now Savannah is stuck in 1990. No, she's stuck in 2020, and because the crystal broke that makes the time travel thing happen. Also, there's a flux capacitor in Back to the Future, and the dude who built the time machine in Sulphur Springs said it has a capacitor, so they use similar terms and stuff like that. Also, Griffin is stuck in the year 2024. So it's really cool how there's so many parallels to Back to the Future and so weird. And it's kind of neat how they combine both premises together, because you'd think they'll be so weird. One is scientific in nature, and the other one is supernatural in nature. But it works and everything, and it's cool. Like, I suggest checking it out. The first and second season are on Disney Plus. It's a really interesting show. It's not too cheesy, corny like the other Disney Channel shows. There is a lot of filler episodes where a lot of stuff really just doesn't happen because it's Disney Channel, you know what I'm saying? But even in those fillers, you still get some good information and tidbits that help the story progress and everything. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.